Okay, we are actually live. Excellent. Welcome everybody, and welcome Amy, Sandra and Kate. And I am Bree, and we are all priestesses of the Institute. We all studied the third level, not together in different intakes, but I believe that Kate, Amy and I were all in Bali at the same time, and then Amy and I met Sandra in Bali maybe a year later. And today we're going to be celebrating the Institute. The Institute for Intuitive Intelligence has not only brought us together, but it's impacted each of our lives in very different ways. And the Institute turns 5 today, or not today, but this month. And so we are here just to celebrate that, to celebrate the past 5 years. I know Amy has been with the Institute from the very beginning. Kate was there. We were there maybe at the beginning or very early on. And I was a client of Ricky's from maybe 12 months after it began. And then we have Sandra that's coming as well. And so we all have a very diverse and different experience from the Institute. And today we're just going to chat about it and have a conversation about it and celebrate the incredible Institute that Ricky Jane Adams has created. So we'll start with you, Kate. Can you share with us about the Institute and what it brought to you at such a pivotal time in your life?
Yeah, thanks, Bree. So when I think of the celebration, I feel it in my heart. Already I come straight into heart coherence, which any of the third level priestesses, it's a big part of our practice. And I just feel that expansion. I feel the expansion in my soul as well. And that's what it brought me. It brought me devotion, like that deep level of devotion. I first did the Initiate program a weekend in Denmark, Western Australia, and met Ricky Jane. I had just separated from my son's father, and he'd moved to the East Coast, and I had no idea what I was doing. We kind of hadn't completely separated. We were okay. I was just living from a 5-people family to my son and myself in a small little town, and I was going to be going to the East Coast. We were just, let's just see. And I was kind of, felt my life had fallen apart, but we knew we couldn't keep doing that. And then all of a sudden I did this weekend and I signed up for the third level, and that year just blew me away. The devotion and connection to myself and just going deeper and deeper within all the time, like, oh yeah, we've got it. And then there was another thing that uncovered, and that was it's just the beauty of the sisterhood, of the permission that was given. There was such a power that grew up inside me, and the channeling, just the practices, just everything just brings me so much joy thinking of that year where I could have, and it was the choice I had, it could have been one of the hardest years of my life, but it was actually one of the most beautiful. Definitely. Not always pretty, but very beautiful on a soul level, and it just bring me to the woman I am today. Yeah, definitely. And that devotion now is just within me so deeply.
Beautiful. And so what else? What's the biggest celebration that you would like to celebrate today about the Institute? Like you've told us a little bit about your story and how you stumbled across the Institute. What do you love most about it? Because your training ended in 2018, I think. And so now we're 2020. How are you still, we're here celebrating the Institute for 5 years. Like, tell us a little bit about your journey since you've graduated and how you continue to be a part of the Institute.
Yes, so there is the Illumi, the Alumni, the membership that I'm still a part of, still practicing method sessions, but it's more those practices that were everyday practices, that they weren't so a lot of them I'd been practicing meditation and different yoga for 15 years before doing this training. So a lot of the practices, chanting and different things, weren't new, but there was the accountability of actually, when doing the third level, like, I did not want to not do it. Like, if we had Ricky Jane coming, like, have you been doing, you cannot get away with not. Yeah. So that accountability has been with me that whole time. And it's not someone now saying, are you doing your practices? It's actually the feeling that I have, that I felt from doing that every day, like every goddamn day. That is what is with me now. And to that, like, if I didn't do the third level, I probably wouldn't have been writing my book right now. One of the pillars is devotion in the book. If I didn't do the third level, I wouldn't have met all these beautiful women and so many heart connections. If I didn't do the third level, I might have not seen the blessing of my life situations before that. If I didn't do the third level, I wouldn't have been probably brave enough, because it was Ricky Jane that I shared my story with first, of a moment in my life which I nearly went down a path of intravenous drug. But my life flashed at me, and I trained with a master, and I knew that there was a feeling inside of me, but I kept that story within, and I didn't go down that path. I kept that story held close to my heart. I didn't know how to share it, but with the third level and the confidence and just the permission, then I was able to share these stories that really impacted how I live, and I can help others to not take that path and know that everything they need is within themselves, and that God is not outside of us. And that's really just that feeling state is what has kept me knowing that I don't need to search outside of myself. It's within. And that's that coming home every day.
Yeah, beautiful. And everything you said resonates with me as well. And I think that that ripple effect, that not only have we trained with Ricky Jane, we are now being of service to others. And even if they don't train with specifically with the institute has a huge ripple effect throughout our communities, and that is cause for celebration as well. So thank you so much, Kate. So Amy, over to you. I first met you in it was I remember dates. It's just, I don't know if it's a gift or a curse, but I do. And it was July 2016 that I met you. And I think you were training in the third level then. And that was in Melbourne at the convent at the that first training. And the woman that I met then, like, I mean, I have seen how much you've grown since that moment. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey as you came into the Institute, and obviously the way you're still working with the Institute?
Yeah, wow, God, that feels like forever ago, but also just yesterday. That's crazy. Yeah, so I have been with the Institute not since the complete beginning, because I know Ricky had quite a journey before that, but yeah, it's been about 5 years for me, and I was a part of the very first third level intake. And then I just kind of hung around since then. I've been a lead mentor for the Institute for about 4 years, so mentoring each intake as it goes. And that's been an incredible, interesting journey for myself, just learning myself as a leader, as a spiritual leader, as a mentor, my relationship with the Institute, my relationship with Ricky and the other mentors, and just learning so much about myself. And you know, one of the biggest reasons that I stuck around was like what Kate said, that accountability, that scaffolding. I knew that what the Institute stands for worked for me. And it really supported me to create what I wanted to create in the world. And so as a result, I've been able to create my own business, which is now successful at the level that I want it to be. And I also now train women in what I do, which is sexual body work. And it's been such a great scaffolding for me to have the confidence and the competence to marry that spirituality and sexuality, which have always been so taboo. And so the Institute has really given me a good foundation to be able to confidently do that in the world as a leader who walks their talk, holds themselves accountable, and knows their shit. Like it's really been epic for me. And I think that's such an important thing, is that becoming a mentor for the Institute doesn't mean you get completely absorbed by the Institute. It's about scaffolding you to support the Institute, but also build what you're here to do, your life's purpose. What kind of leader are you meant to be, and what work are you here to do? And so that's the reason, I did the 3rd level. I've also just completed the spiritual directorship, and it's because it gives you that sisterhood, that community, that accountability, all of that. And I love, just before we came live, Bree was saying, if the Institute didn't exist, we would know each other. And I thought, fuck, if the Institute didn't exist, where would I be right now? And I would be in such a different place. I can't even imagine what the Institute gives you and has given me. It's just like, wow, I actually have no idea where I would be right now if that journey hadn't taken place. That kind of blows my mind a little bit. Yeah, crazy. But yeah, so the Institute, I think, is such an incredible platform for women to come together and learn and lean into that devotion, that accountability, that sisterhood that's like no other, because the Institute doesn't stand for wankery or bullshit or superficiality. So when you take all of that out, you have this community that you can lean on, like in ways like I've never imagined. Like the alumni is just, it's incredible. It's such a beautiful place. Like when I was stuck in mandatory quarantine after coming back to Australia, the alumni sent me the most incredible flowers and fruit baskets and food and groceries. And it was just like, fuck, none of that was expected. But I was just so grateful, because these are the women that are around me and are supporting me in my life no matter what. And that's just purely through the Institute and us coming together and saying yes to this work. So yeah, it's been a pretty awesome 5 years.
It has been. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Amy. And I love that we all speak about that sisterhood, because it is such a beautiful, beautiful sisterhood. And I think we all felt that claustrophobic constriction that you felt being locked in a hotel room for 2 weeks. And we were like, yes, fresh flowers and fruit will give you a taste of, the outside world. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you for sharing, Amy. And obviously we'll come back around and share more about our stories as we go around, but we'll move on to Sandra now. And Sandra, can you just share with us your experience of finding the Institute and studying the program, or share whatever you really want to?
Thanks, Bree. I think when I was thinking about when it first began for me and how I came to the Institute was about 10 years ago, when I found myself just flatlined. One of those stories that starts with, I was a mum of 3. I think I had 3 kids under 7 at the time. I was just flatlined, fatigue, and lying on the floor, just, completely feeling broken and tears and all that. And I started this discovery of, finding why I felt that way. I was always curious about how I felt as early as I can remember. And then I did all different courses, through my healing journey, did modalities and studied behaviour, and I was just obsessed with why we do what we do. And as it got to, as I moved through the process and was learning all about the mind, and I did some hypnotherapy and learnt more about, subconscious, I still felt this, I called it this emptiness. And having a personal training background, I was working with women all the time with their physical bodies. and women coming to me, you know, exhausted and crying and in tears, and just only identifying with who they were with their physical body. And this was, you know, in front of me, my journey, without even realizing at the time that what I was being shown, that we are so much more than our body, but there was a missing link. And I was doing so much trying to break out of training the physical body and trying to train their mind around getting to know that they couldn't see what I could see, that there was so much to this person and not just their body. And so it was about 2017, I just finished doing this other course, and it had tapped into the spiritual side. And I realized then that this was what was missing in my work. And I came across a post on Instagram. A friend of mine, another mum that I knew from the school, had posted this photo in Bali, and she was doing, Deb Rossi was just completing the third level. And I just took a screenshot and I said, what? I'll have to ring her. Where is she? What is she doing? I don't even know what it was. And I made contact with her and I said, I don't know what you just did, but I have to do it. I don't even know anything about it. But I was just so drawn to everything. And I made the call to Ricky, or somehow hooked up the interview. And I just remember having that first conversation with Ricky and, you know, tell me a bit about yourself. And I thought, oh, where do I start? You know, this is going to take hours. And, you know, I just said to her that there's a missing link to this discovering about who my clients are above beyond their body. And my idea of spiritual was just, you know, I was just this conservative mum from the suburbs. You know, do I have to move to Byron Bay? Do I have to change my hair? Do I have to change my clothes? And, you know, she just said all the things that resonated with me straight to the heart, like just Kate said, like even everything was just going straight to my heart. And there was no doubt, no question. I actually, she sent me all the information. To be honest, I don't even think I read it. I just kind of thought, no, this is it. Just tell me where to sign the papers. I'm doing this. And going, the only thing that I was really at that time a bit nervous about was the trip to Bali, because, you know, it had been 15 years, probably 16 years. I'd never left my kids. And this was such a massive thing for me. And getting to Bali, I think I broke one of my biggest fears ever. First time ever in my life, I got on a plane by myself. That was another thing. And just getting to Bali for me was just life-changing. Obviously doing, learning the modalities there and the method was huge for me. And haven't looked back. And now, yeah, I've accepted the post to do the postgraduate, because I feel like I've just stepped into this and have so much to still discover. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, beautiful. And I'm also just finishing up the postgrad or the spiritual directorship, and I know that all the women that have joined that, it is incredible and such a different experience to the third level, and a real deepening into and stepping into that leadership role that Amy was speaking about. So thank you so much for sharing, Sandra, and I really look forward to watching how you unfold in the directorship, because I know what it's done for me and for all the other women in it. So strap in, because you're in for a fun 18 months with the fierce Ricky Jane. She takes no prisoners, but that's why we love her, right? So my name is Brie Jones, and I actually found Ricky 10 years ago when I found myself pregnant with my second child and a single mum. And my big sister, Suzanne, who I studied the third level with, she didn't know what to do for me. So she said, speak to this woman, she's amazing. And back then, this is 10 years ago, it was on the phone. I remember where I was sitting, you know, on the landline phone, having this conversation with this woman. And Ricky worked in a very different capacity back then, but it still helped me. She sent me away with a little bit of homework. And then come 6 years later, 2016, I don't know how I don't know how we were friends on Facebook. I have no idea, but we were. And I reached out to her, and that's when I experienced my very first method session. And I still remember it to this day, because it was, you know, I think you always remember your first, right? And it was so potent and amazing. And it really fed my yearning for this intuitive work. I for some reason just always had that yearning to know more, to move down that intuitive path. But I was so resistant to it because, you know, who am I to think that I'm that special, that I have that gift? Because, you know, I did think it was a gift back then. And so I moved. I went to a few different things. That's where I met Amy at the that first training, and I went to the chakra part of the method was a separate training as well. And I went to that, and that's when I then dived into the third level. And what a ride. I don't even know who I was, but when I started, and every month now that I look back, and the growth just keeps accelerating. And the growth in the postgrad, I'm not going to lie, I felt like I was sort of letting the team down for a long time in the postgrad, because I was like, you know, what am I here for? Like, tell me, what am I doing here? Where am I going on my journey? And I feel like probably in the last 3 months, it dropped into me. And it, as everyone knows, it's all about the wild woman. And that, for me, Sandra, going back to that missing link, that was the missing link for me. The wild woman was literally standing there in front of me, holding my self-worth. And she said, you got to come and get it. I'm not giving it to you. And so I've been, let's say, chasing, for lack of a better word, the wild woman, and slowly that building up my own self-worth, because that has been my Achilles heel for my entire life. Like, even when I was a young child, that lack of self-worth was there. And so having the wild woman by my side, like, she's with me all the time, reminding me of this wild, confident, free, liberated version of myself that I want to be. And what a joy that I just started my very first Wild Woman program, and I'm taking women on the journey that I went on to meet her. And so that's, the Institute brought me the wild woman, really. It's brought the wild woman out in me. And I'm so grateful for that, because it was not knowing who I was, where I was going. And that's what the Institute has given me. It's allowed me to find my home, which of course is within myself. It's allowed me to get to know myself, to love myself, to actually say, hey, Bree, you did a really great job, you know, high five, because we don't do that very often and celebrate ourselves. So that's what the Institute has given me. And, you know, I'm also a lead mentor for the Institute, which I feel incredibly grateful for. And sometimes I can't believe that I get paid to do the work I do, because I learn so much from it. That has allowed me to deepen into the method and the work phenomenally. And every time I learn something new, it's a remembering for me. It's not that I'm learning a new information, and that's why a lot of the times I don't question it. It's a learning. It's a learning. It's a remembering. I'm remembering who I am. And so yes, that is what the Institute has done for me. And then every 6 months, I thank Ricky for bringing me a whole lot of new friends, because a new intake begins. There's a whole insurgence of new friends that join the alumni and increase the sisterhood. And, you know, one thing I love about the sisterhood is that we all work together. I have done Amy's program, the 12-week immersion. And I mean, that was the missing link for me to my wild woman. So I met the wild woman with the Institute, but Amy was like, hey, look, she's over here in the bedroom too, you know. And so I got to really marry that together. And all the women have we go through the same program, but we're so diverse in how we deliver it when we graduate. And that to me proves what an epic journey it is, because Ricky's not, Ricky Jane, we're not all clones of each other or clones of Ricky in any way. She empowers you. You finish the program and you're empowered to then take the method and bring it out into the world at the way that you want to, and the medicine that your clients need from you. So yes, that, I feel like I'm getting all ranty about the Institute, but I'm like, we're here to celebrate it, right? So that's what we're doing. So who wants to jump in now and talk about anything else to do with the Institute and your journey, and what excites you about the Institute and the next 5 years within the Institute?
I will say something. And I love that, Bree, you're so right. Like the alumni is made up of this incredible temple of wisdom. Like there is women in there. We've got financial gurus, we've got graphic designers, we've got tech support, we've got fucking anything and everything you could imagine is in there, and it's a sister who gets it and gets you and what you need. And I love that. It's this incredible pool to dip into of resources who have the same approach as you and know where you're coming from. So that alone is such an incredible thing to have, to back you up. And I think, 5 years and the next 5 years, like I was with Ricky when she, had this vision of 5,000 priestesses. And that was kind of when the mission became clear. The Institute is about training 5,000 priestesses to do this work. And we're getting there. So there's a few years to go yet, but it's incredible to think what's been done in the last 5 years and what's going to happen in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 15 years, as these priestesses spread globally. Because the current intake, we've got priestesses all over the world, which has been interesting with the global pandemic, but it is, it's spreading far and wide, and it's getting to that 5,000 is a reality. And it's such a beautiful thing to see this work spreading so far and wide and being so accessible to people, because as we all know, we're here in service, and it's something so much bigger and so much greater than each of us and our little businesses and what we're actually doing in the 3D world. There's something much, much bigger going on here. And, we all know that not 7 billion people on this planet have to awaken. We just need enough of us to get to that tipping point to create the altered reality that is happening before our very eyes. So it's, being a part of that bigger picture in this way is such a fucking privilege. And it's really exciting. It's challenging. My God, is it challenging? I don't think there's a week where it's like, why? But that's the path of being a human. And as Deepak Chopra says, we're energy or a soul having a human experience. And that's what this is all about. That's what the Institute is about. Scaffolding is that waking up. So yeah, thank you, Ricky, and thank you to the Institute and all of the women that say yes, and all of the women that are lining up to say yes. It's cliche, but it's nothing so short of life-changing.
Yes, it is so life-changing, isn't it? And it does sound cliche, but it's true, so we're going to say it anyway. Who else would like to share a little bit more about what we're talking about?
Yeah, Bree, I was just going to add on to that too, about what Amy was saying about the alumni, how there is just someone that does everything. And I think I'm still learning that. And these conversations that we're having has just been a great opportunity to even see that even more. And it gets me more excited that whether it's, you walk out of this part, but you're finding your own unique way of, bringing whatever your gift is to the world. So whether it was I had my graphics done by Christy, and, if I wanted a detox, I can go somewhere else if I'm talking. And it's like, that for me was I'm still being blown out of the water by the magic, the gifts that everyone has, and how it's just, this process is just bringing that to life. So I just wanted to say how much I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump in now, Kate?
Sure. I think I kind of spoke a lot about my journey, but I do have a story about the vision. And Ricky would talk about the 5,000 priestesses, and I could see it. Like when we go into sometimes doing meditations and go in and into the Akash or go wherever we're guided, sometimes I would see the women. But then it was this year, and I think it was at a time I was journeying deep with my book, and I had the vision, and it changed within me. Like I felt it, and I had to reach out to Ricky and say, I'm like, my devotion to doing the method for people, I was like, okay, now I have to be accountable. I must do at least a few sessions a week, like rather than just my own sessions. I was like, oh, something within me just really like, oh my gosh, I feel the vision. I could see it before, and it was just like exciting. But then actually having that experience, I was in meditation, and when that vision of all the priestesses and just that connection to each of us, you know, and seeing that like grids, I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah, like that new inspiration there to just get this work out to everyone, that it will serve, that it will, you know, as we've all been saying, that it will help change their life too.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. And I remember in the beginning, and I think, and I've spoken to many priestesses, people who have graduated and people who are there now, and often there is that a bit of an imposter syndrome. Oh, I don't know if I belong in this spiritual world, and I guess that's the nature of the third level, though, is that it doesn't matter if you've been doing spiritual work your entire life, or if you're like me and you don't even know what your intuition looks like or feels like or sounds like. It doesn't matter. It really is a gateway into, like Amy said, there's no spiritual wankery in the program. So a lot of people are unlearning things that they are brought into the program. And a lot of people are just opening up to it for the very first time. And that's what I love about it too, is that it doesn't matter where you are on your journey. It's actually the right fit for everybody. And knowing that, and I've really started to see this now, is that this 5,000 priestesses, this vision that Ricky Jane has, it's not just her, it's not 5,000 people, that we're all part of that plan. Like we, the priestesses that have graduated, we are this ripple effect. So, you know, when we stand in our power and when we're running our own programs and we're part of that, we're a big part, like we are the puzzle pieces, I guess, to this thing that Ricky's putting together. And with that, we draw in more women into the Institute, and we add to that 5,000, because we all know you can't rise all by yourself. It's really difficult rising alone. And so we all come together and we all rise together. And that's a big message that I have from the Wild Woman, is no more going about it alone. Like you don't have to walk this treacherous path of painful awakening and let go of everything. And like you said, Sandra, change your hair and your clothes and everything. It's not like that at all. It's actually like, oh, I can walk this path looking just like I look, I've totally got my daggy yoga pants on under this black top. You know, we can do that spiritual work as ourselves and rise together. And it was Amy, you said to me on my very first retreat, when I told her, number one, that I was giftless, I don't have a gift. And Amy was just like, Brie, now. No one has a special gift. We are all equal. That was the first thing she said to me. And the second thing I said to Amy, I'm not doing this right because I haven't had a breakdown. And Amy said to me, Bree, you don't have to suffer through your awakening. It doesn't have to be hard and difficult. And I was like, oh, phew, you know, that's great. Like, so although Ricky runs the programs and she's like the fierce leader, it wouldn't work without all the other bits and pieces, all the other people, the mentors, the past, the graduated priestesses, all of us being in here together is what makes the Institute fucking amazing. Not just that one person rising on her own. And, you know, and Ricky knows it too. She needs us just as much as we need her, especially as we move through the programs and you know, through the postgrads. And I'm doing the teacher training too. I'm not sure if you are too, Sandra. I can't wait for the teacher training. I'm like super excited because I'm the forever student who needs to step into her teacher now. So that's where I am going to be going, and I can't wait to bring the teacher training to the world, or the initiate program. I'm not teaching the teacher training, to bring the initiate program to the world. So who else would like to share something? Because otherwise I'll just keep talking on my ranty self.
I was just going to add, Bree, no, I'm not doing it this time around because I didn't think I could start the postgrad and the teacher training at the same time. I was just like, just didn't think I could do both at the same time. But anyways, absolutely, that is one thing that I have found or unlocked during this time is with the archetype work, which I've, you know, absolutely loved, but just in my world of being a mother and realizing that that I am transitioning into this teacher role, that I never really thought that was what I was going to do. But with how I'm bringing my work into the world, I'm always finding myself in a teacher role, and it's delivering this information and it's just delivering this, and that for me that has just unlocked in the last few months, and it's like, oh wow, I just didn't know that was going to be my next thing I'm going to do. So that's how I'm bringing this work into the world. Yeah, so I love that too.
Yeah, and I love what you say there, because you know, who's made a really, really awesome plan and then God's laughed at you and said, that's not your plan, you're going this way.
Yeah.
Yes, that happens. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Manjote said, how do you make God laugh? And she said, you make a plan and then he laughs at you and he changes it. And we sometimes struggle to surrender to the new plan, but we have each other to lean into and, you know, to let go of that perceived path that we think we're supposed to be taking, when actually, you know, it might be different. Well, thank you so much, ladies. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to share, or we'll begin to wrap up our beautiful conversation?
I just wanted to add one more thing in about the course, and what I found very useful and supportive was having the mentors. And just during those times where you had those questions, and I remember once Gemma was my mentor and I said to her something a bit like that, had a bit of a laugh. I wasn't laughing at the time, saying, what about this? And she said, well, hand it over and surrender. And I said, what does that mean? And just watching that unfold and just having that support and was just beautiful too, and so grateful for that.
Yeah, I agree. I loved the mentors when I went through the program, and I absolutely adore being a lead mentor. And it's like, honestly, I don't know how I got so lucky. Like, I absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much, ladies. Kate, did you have anything else that you wanted to add, or Amy? No. Well, thank you for celebrating the 5-year birthday of the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence. It really has been such a joyful ride, and especially to be part of it, you know, I've been a part of it for 4 years as a client and then as a student. And I just think, wow, where are we going to be in 10 years time? Oh, sorry, 5 years time at the 10th birthday. And, you know, it'll be here before we know it, because it's already July this year. And I feel like I've been so busy this year, and we can all feel how much the world is changing. And that has really shown me how important this work is, and how important it is that we keep showing up to ourselves and for the world as well. So yes, well, thank you, beautiful women, Amy, Kate, and Sandra. And thank you for everybody who has been watching. We look forward to, hopefully Rachel and Ricky Jane will give us access and control of their page again one day, and we'll take over again and have another incredible conversation. So thank you, and thank you, Ricky Jane and the Institute, for everything that you have given us over the past 5 years. I really can't wait to watch it evolve and change, and to be part of that journey with you. So thank you, and have an incredible day. Bye.